Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is a little unusual as we're not looking at a device that's 20 years old. Instead, this one is brand spanking new. Following a successful Indiegogo campaign, I have in my hands the GPD Win Mini. This is the 2025 model and it arrived earlier this week. And I bought it to replace my GPD Win Pocket 7. There is a video on that. I'll pop a link below. This is from 2017, so actually it's done pretty well for such a small device. It still works perfectly well, but it's not designed for Windows 11, although I'll probably sideload it at some point. Before we get started, a huge shout out to Bailey YRB, Balders66, Von Rummelsdorf and Curti Unlisted for your supers on my solderless battery replacement on the Visor Edge. And thanks to DigitalDecay.x for his super on my GPD unboxing short, as well as his suggestion that I do a comparison of the GPD Win Mini alongside my favourite palm top, the reliable Jornada 728. Watch this space. Right, let's get this unboxed and take a look around. First of all, in here, says it's the dedicated grip. It's not sprung, it just appears to clip in. I'll be honest, this feels very cheap. But it's this that we're interested in. This sports a Ryzen CPU with 8 cores and 16 threads, as well as 16 gig of RAM. There's the unit itself, and I've got a power wart and a USB-C to USB-C cable. And here it is. So let's take a quick look around this. First of all, on this side, absolutely nothing. So that's nice and easy. Across the front, nothing. Down the side, we've got this button. This allows you to switch between game mode and mouse mode, and that's to do with the thumbsticks, which we'll come back to in a minute. Then round the back we've got L1, L2, a reset port, a vent to let the air out, USB 4 which is used for charging. This can also be used to connect an external GPU and external monitors. We've got an indicator light, red and green depending on the charge status when charging. A second USB-C, this is the 3.4 standard, so it can still be used with hubs, etc., but it cannot be used for charging. We've got a standard headphone jack, micro SD slot, and a normal USB-A type socket. This is version 3. Then we've got the right 1 and right 2 buttons. Underneath we've got the vent for the fan, a couple of rubber feet, and these are not rubber, these are simply bits of plastic. Opening it up, of course, we have the screen, and then below that we've got 2 thumbsticks along with direction arrows and a usual layout XYBA buttons. We've also got a select, a menu, and a programmable L4, R4 button and a start button. The power button is in the middle, which is a little unusual. Everything else is pretty much in the same place, and we've got a function key to access basic functions up at the top. Right, I'm going to power this up and do all the updates, and then we'll get back to it. This is the base model. It features a Ryzen 8840U, which has 6 cores and 12 threads. That's paired up with 16 gig of RAM. 4 gig is used by the GPU, so you have 12 gig accessible. And that GPU is an AMD Radeon 780M. There's also a 1 terabyte M2 SSD, which is user replaceable. It has a 7-inch 1080p screen at 120 Hz to give nice smooth graphics when gaming. I've put a link below to the GPD website so you can check out the other options that are available. Now we've done all those updates, let's have a closer look. So the screen itself is full HD. It's got pretty good viewing angles. It's not the best angles I've ever seen, especially that way. Woof. However, it is very bright. If we up the brightness here, in full brightness, that is extremely bright. It's difficult to see on the camera, but certainly looking at it in person, that's a little bit much if I'm honest. So let's just open a text document. So I'm just going to adjust the brightness again, see if we can get it a bit clearer on the camera. There we go. And let's test the keyboard. Okay, so much as expected, it's a little on the small side. I do like the tactile feedback from the switches, and the doming makes it easy to find your finger placement. I do keep hitting this oversized capped button though. Certainly for moderate amounts of typing, this will be fine. You wouldn't want to write War and Peace on here. So let's open an MP3 and see what the sound is like. Oh, that's a little bit loud. Let me bring that down a bit. Well, that's better. Sound quality is reasonable. I certainly don't have any complaints from such a small computer, and it's a huge leap forward compared to the Pocket 7. It's nowhere near as tinny. So enough of that. As we've already discussed, the GPD Win Mini has some pretty impressive specs on paper. Let's run a few benchmarks and see what they're really like, starting with its SSD. So that's a little odd. I ran a benchmark earlier and it was reaching 55 megabits per second on the read speed. So I'm just gonna plug it in and see if that's why. So obviously benchmarks as a standalone number don't mean a lot. So we're going to compare everything to my Nitro 5. It was released in 2019. It's the computer I do all my editing on. I upgraded it to 32 gig of RAM, and it does have a discrete graphics card. It's powered by an i7-950H, which has got 6 cores and 12 threads. And here are the results for the Nitro and the GPD. As you can see, the Nitro speed is about half that of the one in the GPD. That's not so shocking since SSDs are continually getting faster and the Nitro is 6 years old. Let's take a look at the CPU. So again, here are the Nitro 5's results, bearing in mind this is a 6-year-old computer, and here's the GPD Win Mini. As you can see, the single and multi-core results are not far off being twice as quick. It is amazing how much difference 6 years makes when it comes to CPU. So what about the GPU? After all, the GPD Win Mini is for gaming. So here's the results for the Nitro. And here's the results for the GPD. As you can see, the Nitro is about twice the speed of the GPD. However, that's not a surprise, as it does have a discrete graphics card, which at the time was pretty high end. It's got the GeForce GTX 1680 Titanium, and this, of course, has the 780 Mobile by Radeon. So let's even the odds and have a look at the onboard Intel GPU. As you can see, it's about 5 times slower than the newer AMD 780M. A bit like the CPUs, GPUs have come a long way in the last 6 years. So let's see how that works in the real world. Let's start by looking at some games. Okay, of course, I'm just kidding. Of course it can play Doom. Even a microwave can play Doom. Let's try some proper games. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and maybe pop a comment, even if it's just to say hi, as this helps drive the algorithm. If you are really enjoying this video, consider becoming a member. And you'll get a shout out on the channel, as well as your names in the end credits. You'll also get a sticker after any comments you make, as well as early access to videos, and you get that crucial vote in the membership poll, which helps drive the direction of the channel. As well as that, you get that warm fuzzy feeling of knowing you directly supporting this channel. So let's load a newer game. So this one is Alien Fireteam Elite. It is about the newest game I own. Yes, I know it's not that new. So we're just gonna fit this bracket thing. And it just slides in. Oh, before I do, I have to change it to joystick mode. Otherwise, I can't do it once it's in the cradle. That's it. It does feel very cheap, this. It's not got any kind of stretch to it. It just clips there and there. and as you can see, it hides the mouse button there. Let's give it a go. So the joystick works as you might expect. This one does the viewing, and this one runs around. Top right button activates one skill, top left button activates the other, bottom left is an aim, bottom right is fire. If you depress this button, it stabs, and if you depress this one, it activates run mode. As you can see, it runs pretty well. Let's go do some fighting.
Fire team, we need to divert the Xenos from an
And we're not going to play it online with anyone else. So I must admit, this isn't my favourite way of playing. I am normally a PC gamer, and so I prefer a mouse and a keyboard, but you know, this works, and as a portable player goes, this is pretty good. I'm getting pretty smooth frames, very little drop-in. If you're used to console gaming and you've got one of these, this is going to work really well. So in general, this is going to be fine for gaming on, and although this feels incredibly cheap, it does work well to add the ergonomics of a controller. Given that the screen is only 7 inches, running your games at 720p is still going to look great. I imagine though, if you are going to try and play in full HD, that frame rate is going to drop significantly. As for battery life, well, we'll come back to that in a moment. To be honest, I don't enjoy using the thumbsticks as mice. This is your right button and this is your left button, top left and top right, which is really annoying. I don't know why they didn't put them both there as in right and left mouse clicks, but it does make it annoying because you need both hands in order to select things. You can click by pressing down on that joystick, but there's no way of dragging things if that's the method that you're using. Oh, and then it's not working even though I'm trying to demonstrate it. But normally that works. The other option when it comes to the mouse is to use the mouse pad, and it works pretty well. I can't say it's brilliant. To be honest, I prefer a little nub mouse, but I'm going to plug a proper mouse in so we can have a look at whether or not it's powerful enough to edit. So when it comes to editing, I use DaVinci Resolve. It's a great app, it's very powerful, and even the free version can do pretty much everything I need. Let's just change the display. There we go, that definitely looks full HD now, doesn't it? So as you can see, at this resolution, it is a little small, so things can be a bit tricky. You're definitely going to want a proper mouse for accuracy. But if we scroll through here, you'll see the video scrub is pretty fast. 5 Love B there we go. And the man known as David Shao. Huge thanks to you all. That's better. We only need one video preview window. So the video scrub works pretty well. As you can see, it's fairly fast recovering data from the drive, thanks to that fast M2. Let's see what the rendering speed is like. So this is done in full HD at 25 frames a second. I'm going to render it as an MP4, and let's see how long it takes to render. So this video took 6 minutes and 1 second to complete rendering. This is thanks to a very high multi-core CPU speed. Unsurprisingly, the Nitro took 13 minutes and 21 seconds, so a little over twice the time, but again, that's due to the multi-core CPU speed. The biggest issue if you're going to do any editing on the GPD Win is that tiny 7-inch screen, so without the benefits of an external monitor, while your rendering times might be much faster, it's going to take at least twice as long squinting at that little screen to edit anything. So I have literally only had this for a couple of days, so I'm not really sure what the battery life is like, but I did play through a few levels on Alien Fireteam with it, and I can tell you that I got a little over an hour before I got the battery warning at 10%. This isn't particularly good battery life when it comes to gaming away from a socket. However, I do imagine that if you downgraded the settings on the game, you could increase the time quite significantly without compromising the visuals too much. As of yet, I have no idea how long the battery would last with normal usage, such as web browsing or a little bit of office work. And I'll report back on that once I do know. I'll pop it in the comments below, but I would anticipate we'll easily get kind of 6 hours of non-intense use. UMPCs have a history of compromises, especially when it comes to the hardware, trying to cram everything into a small chassis, with consumers paying a premium for that privilege. On here, the biggest compromise is definitely that keyboard. While it is usable, you certainly wouldn't want to write a PhD on there, but that compromise has been made so that we can include the integrated thumbsticks and buttons for gaming. And while the joysticks are excellent for gaming, I really don't like using them as a mouse, but that's okay. I've got plenty of options, including that central trackpad and of course the touch screen. When it comes to the hardware specs, there is no compromise here, being available with up to 32 gigs of RAM and a 4TB SSD if you want to pay that much money. Add to this a USB 4 hub, giving you discrete graphics if you want it, twin monitors, keyboard and mouse, and actually this is a desktop replacement that you can pick up and take with you wherever you go. I paid about £700 for this, including shipping and taxes from the Indiegogo campaign, and I feel that's a bit of a bargain. You can barely buy a decent phone for that kind of money. Would you buy one? Do you think this is worth the money? Have a look and see what you think on the Indiegogo website and let me know your thoughts below. Big thanks goes to all the commenters, viewers, subscribers, but most of all to the supers and the members who directly support this channel. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, my name's Hugh. This is Handheld Computing. Thanks for watching.